I'm Emma G. Rose.
I'm Shel Shearer. We're indie authors.
And this is Indie Book Talk. Hello and welcome back to Indie Book Talk. Today we have with us Ricardo Victoria, who is the author of the Tempest Blades series. And we are very excited to have Ricardo with us because he is our first author from Mexico.
Cool.
Welcome to the show, Ricardo.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Did you grow up in Mexico?
Yes, born and bred.
Born and raised. And is Spanish your first language or is English your first language?
No, it's Spanish.
Okay, but you write in English?
Yes.
Interesting. Why did you choose to write in English instead of Spanish?
Well, there are a few reasons. One, the market is bigger in English. That's Two, publishing in Spanish is a nightmare. Even worse. Yeah, because most of the publishing industry in Spanish rarely buy books from native speakers. They usually buy translations, especially when it comes with science fiction and fantasy. There are a few contests for Spanish-speaking authors, but the terms of the contest are so draconian that I don't think it's worth. You're basically considering all the rights of your story forever. So it's like,
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I decided to go with English, and also when I write, I tend to write faster, or I tend to think a lot of English because I got used to when I was doing my postgrad. So, and I have a lot of friends that only speak English, so I'm all the time practicing it, and it got easier with the time.
So where did you do your postgrad that you were doing it primarily in English?
In England.
Oh, okay.
It's a university called Loughborough. It's in the East Midlands.
What took you to England for school?
Because I have always wanted to live abroad for a while, and I was lucky to get a scholarship to study the postgrad. So, and I was lucky to get accepted straight to the PhD rather than having to go first through a master's and then.
Nice.
PhD. So I don't know how I pull it. To this day, I'm still wondering how the hell I did it. But
just enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the 2 years and a half I was living there. I got to know a lot of cool people, really good friends, learned a lot, and I got used to the way of life in England. So yeah, it was a fun and interesting experience. Helped me a lot to grow up, to go from uni and living with your parents to really living on your own and taking care of yourself.
So did living in the two very different cultures reflect in your series?
Yeah, kind of. There is one character that is from one culture, but is mostly living in another one. So he's by the time of the story takes place, he has adapted more or less to the new culture where he has been living for the past 10 years. But there are some times that he gets some things mixed, or thanks to speaking his native language when he's angry or scared.
That makes sense. Everybody I know who speaks multiple languages reverts to their home language when they get really excited or really upset.
Or sleepy.
Or sleepy.
Or drunk.
Or sleepy. Or drunk.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about your series.
Well, I will say the series, for starters, is kind of in the vein of hop punk. You know, this new trend.
What was it? Sorry?
Hop punk, like a steampunk, but with hope instead of steam, which is which is the opposite to grimdark.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
I had not heard of that.
I didn't coin the term.
Me either.
The term was coined already. So the story started with this retired soldier or warrior, Fionn. He has certain skills and powers that not everyone has. But he has been retired because he's suffering from PTSD. And when a friend asked him to solve a disappearance case, someone disappeared, and under really, really strange circumstances, he found himself back into the game of basically being a hero, trying to save the world, trying to train a new generation of heroes that had similar abilities to his, and trying to get some closure with his own past and his own regrets. And that's more or less the plot of the first book. And the second book, I'm trying to rotate the main point of view. I have a large cast, so I'm trying to rotate the main point of view with each book. So in the next book, one of the students, which is called Alex, which is the one that is from one country living in another one, is going through a really, really severe depression. Most of the book is talking about dealing with living and dealing with depression. In part because of what happened in the first book, because you cannot save the world or be a hero without consequences.
Right.
Because personal consequences and consequences at large. So while he's struggling with his depression, the world is reacting to the fact that this legendary hero came back from retirement and saved the world from a monster that everybody thought it was a hero also. It threw the whole world into a political chaos, and they're trying to reach an agreement through something called the Chivalry Games, which is like the Olympics, where you put the best fighters of each region in combat, and the representatives of those countries can wage bets on those fights to solve international disputes. So instead of going to a war, they basically put their best fighters and have a trial by combat, non-lethal trial by combat. You can get expelled if you kill your opponent.
I like that.
So how much world building did you have to do for this?
A lot. That's a short answer. No, really, I have been thinking in this world in particular since I was in high school. So I have notes upon notes and notes.
Oh wow!
Obviously, I took a break when I was doing my PhD because writing a thesis is not easy task.
Yeah.
So I had to put everything in pause. So until I get married, my wife pushed me to you need to finish your story because you are getting obsessed with that, and I started to write. So yeah, she was the one pushing me to do it.
Oh, good for her.
It's nice to have a supportive partner.
Yeah, she's really, really supportive. She doesn't enjoy that I tend to write really late in the night, but since she's also a night owl because she's a freelance graphic designer, sometimes we work at the same time, and yeah, I admit that she has a lot of patience.
So how many more books do you think will be in the series? Because it sounds like there's still a lot to go.
It's planned for two more, so four in total. I'm currently writing the third one, which is going to be split in two parallel stories, one with a different point of view, and then the final one that is going to close this particular arc. I built the world to be able to have stories before or after this main arc. But for this one in particular, it's going to be 4 books because it comes to a point when you want to write other things, but you also have a commitment with your publisher, with my publisher in this case, and also have a day job that's very time consuming. So I cannot write everything I want to do at the same time. I have to organize my schedule tightly so I don't burn out.
So how do you fit writing in? Do you just do it in the evenings, or do you have a set time frame you try and get some in?
I usually write when I come back from work after dinner, doing the dishes, like around midnight. I try to write a little bit around midnight, and then I wake up early in the morning before I go to work. I write a little bit more, and then during the commute to work, I keep thinking of the scenes and the dialogues. Sometimes I write notes in my phone, so I send them back to me through the email, and I mostly think about dialogues and scenes, and then build the story around them.
So the dialogue's very important to you?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to convey the personality of the characters.
Mm-hmm. I also start with dialogue when I'm almost every scene. It'll just be like a play. It's just here's everything the character said, and then I build around that.
Here's what's going on around them while they talk.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you plot all this out? Do you already know everything that's going to happen, or do you just kind of have what the world is like, what your character's like, and you just you just pants it as you go?
For the first two books, I basically write. I was a pantser. I just wrote. I have a very basic outline of half a page. But for the next two, the one I'm writing now and the final one, yes, I do have now a plot and a break by chapter because since I need to close a lot to tie a lot of loose ends, I need to keep track of my own continuity. So yeah, my publisher told me you need to have a plan now because your continuity, your world building is so big that you are going to get lost. And I have a friend, who is my beta reader, who usually keeps track of my continuity and send me notes about this is contradicting this bit. And yeah, I have a basic outline and a break by chapter, but the actual scenes and dialogues they come as I start to write. So it's a weird mix between being a plotter and a pantser.
Well, it's good that you have someone that reads it through for you so they can catch things that you don't.
Yeah, it takes a village to to write a book.
At least.
I love that.
I need a village to help me write.
Mostly to keep you accountable.
I need a village to like cook me meals and like bring me drinks and snacks while I'm writing, right?
Yes.
Like that would be helpful. Clean my house while I'm writing.
Or deny me these things if I'm not writing. No dinner for you unless you're writing. Okay, I'll write.
That's not a village, that's a jail.
Yeah.
So you're published by Inklings Press.
Yes and no. My novels, the Tempest Blades series, is published by Artemisia Publishing.
Oh, okay.
That have an imprint called Shadow Dragon Press, which is the imprint that publishes fantasy and science fiction. Inklings Press is the publishing house slash writing group I co-founded with three other friends I met in UK. Like every other story starts with people getting drunk. It was 2015, and I sent a horror story to my first submission ever. I sent it to a magazine, got rejected, and I was complaining with them in the chat. And we were a little bit drunk, I guess, because I said, to hell with it. Kind of like Bender in Futurama.
I'm going to do my own publishing house with blackjack and hookers.
Except that there was no blackjack nor hookers. But yeah, that was pretty much the gist. And we started with a small anthology, 5 authors, 3 of us, and a few guests. And then by the third anthology, we opened the submission call to everyone, and we started to meet a lot of interesting people, and it became like, as I say, a writing group slash publishing house, which is focused more only in anthologies, in short story anthologies, thematic, science fiction, horror, fantasy, pirates, tales from the underground, alternate history. Alternate history actually has been the most frequent topic in our anthologies because one of them got nominated for a Sidewise Award back then in the day.
That's awesome.
And 2 stories got nominated and one won. So the other 3, myself and the other 3 members of we are trying to get our own projects going on. So I have my 2 novels. I have another friend, Rob, has another 2 novels. His are more like superhero science fiction. So he's also published by Artemisia.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have a friend, Harris, who is mainly focused on alternate history and science fiction, and he's self-published. And then we have Leo McBride, our fearless editor-in-chief, who is mostly focused on writing biographies and trying to get his fantasy novel on track. But so we made a pause so we can focus on our individual projects, and then we are going to go back to retake Inklings. The problem with everybody having a day job and not enough funds is that you have to prioritize where you put your effort.
Yes. There's only so much time.
Yeah, it has been a nice experience because it taught us a lot of what is to work behind the scenes in the publishing industry, from editing to cover design, which is mostly what I did.
Mm-hmm. And you're a designer, right? Like in real life?
Yeah, I studied industrial design. Currently, I'm teaching industrial design. So I just know the basics. So luckily, I have the help of my wife. That is the one that told me, not that cover sucks. You need to start again and do this, and that. So she has been teaching me all the stuff I didn't know about. She's the one teaching me how to do things.
Oh, that's awesome.
So did you two work on the covers of your books, or did you hire that out?
We hired out the illustrator, the artist. He's called Salvador Velázquez. He's a friend from here, also from Mexico. So most of the production of my novels is Mexican people. We have to support each other.
Yes.
My publisher, Artemisia, was very kind to tell me that you can choose the artist for the cover. They like Salvador's art. Is more in the comic book side of things rather than the more painting like. But that, I think that gives the right feeling for the books, because they have been described like anime action packed stories. So Salvador used the art front and back, single image, and then myself and my wife, because I'm a control freak, made a deal with my publisher about I'm going to do the setup for the cover because I have a clear idea of what I want.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage of working with a small publisher is that they're a bit more flexible with those things.
So you did get to work on your covers a little bit then. They were pretty much your concept.
Yeah, I just I'm like the art director. I give the orders and the others execute, because if I try to do it all on my own, I know they are not going to be as good as they could be. And as much as I'm a control freak, I'm also honest about my skill level.
So if people want to keep track of what you and or the Inklings are doing, where can they find you on the internet?
I waste most of my time. I waste most of my time on Twitter. So you can find me as Winged Leo, Leo. I also have a website and blog that I really, really need to update. Is Ricardo Victoria U.com. U because I have two last names, Victoria Uribe.
Ah.
So, yeah, most people in Spanish-speaking countries have two last names.
I actually wondered about that when I saw that it was just Ricardo Victoria. I was like, I wonder if that's really his name or if there's more.
No, the full name will be Ricardo Victoria Uribe. So for legal papers in English, I have to write it like Victoria Uribe. So because Victoria is also a first name. So,
right.
It gets confusing. I use only Ricardo Victoria for my writing about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and use my full name for the academic writing I have to do for work. So because I like to keep things a little bit separated, my day job from my writing job.
Well, it has been really awesome to meet an author from another country who's writing in English. We really appreciate that, because that means that I can read your book.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And everyone go follow winged_Leo on Twitter so you can keep track of what Ricardo's up to.
And be sure to thank his wife for pushing him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's going to thank that.